pisses me off. Not because I'm soft. I'm not soft. But if you want to wrestle, let's wrestle. If you have a problem with me, let's settle it. If you can't beat me on the mat, try to beat me in the parking lot. But if you can't beat me on the mat, I doubt you can do much to me in the parking lot.
The previous administration took all the guys, wink, wink.
I just want some ice cream, man. I just want some ice cream.
Welcome back, folks, to the Shots Fired podcast. We are on episode 7. As always, rate our podcast. Leave us a comment on what you think. Give us 5 stars. We're up to 9 ratings now, I saw, and just one's a 4-star.
The rest are 5s?
Yeah, the rest are 5.
Holy cow.
I think I figured out who the 4-star was, though, I think it's Jason Bryant, probably.
Yeah, probably fair.
He feels us. We're coming for him in his 73 podcasts that he does every week.
He's got numbers 1 through 72 in the top wrestling charts on Apple.
Yeah, he's getting nervous because we're just doing it in one podcast, and he's doing it with 45 or whatever the number is. I think we need to make it a new rule that we need to say his name every podcast, and we can make it like a game.
Okay.
We'll just mix it in somewhere randomly, and we need to think of like a prize to give out the first person that picks it up. Do you have any ideas?
Tweets back like, I heard his name first at the 1 minute 17 second mark.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking a prize could be we just hand out an Iowa high school state championship bracket that all the writers have. So, you guys got 9.5 of them.
Yeah.
So you got plenty to throw around. I think we could, that lasts a while.
That fills up 9, and then we can go to medals from there. We got 15 medals. So
yeah,
we just covered 24 weeks of the podcast for prizes.
Yeah, there we go. We just start throwing Eddie's medals around.
We're giving Eddie's 4 away first because those are the least valuable.
Okay. You said it, not me.
And Eddie didn't contribute to the charts, so.
Yeah. Oh, well. He had some AAU ones in there, didn't he?
No. He got second at AAU once, was his best.
Oh, I thought he had a couple.
No. I got a team trophy from Tulsa Nationals that Charlie Falk and I won one time.
Yeah, a team of 2. That was funny.
We can give that away.
Interesting way to keep team score, just champs.
Yeah.
All right. I think we got a couple things to talk about this week, even though there wasn't too much wrestling going on other than some of the continental tournaments. You got a lot of stuff to talk about by the looks of Twitter the last, 8 hours or so. A lot of Minnesota stuff. So
yeah,
you take it and run with it, whatever you want to talk about.
Well, I'm excited about it. There's some changes obviously up here at Minnesota. They're going on. Dustin Schlater's going to transfer from he was the second assistant. Now he's going to take over as the RTC coach, which was a role formerly filled by Jared Lawrence. And Jared, as you know, he runs that Pinnacle Wrestling. Him and Brandon Paulson run that together. And that's Jared's full focus. And he's done the RTC for the last, 4 or 5 years probably, I think. And it's not been his passion. His passion is Pinnacle. And he loves those kids. He loves coaching those kids. And he still does the RTC because it helps out, helps those guys out. And, there's some of them guys that, we've known forever that are still training. So he wanted to help be their coach as long as they could. But, it was kind of essentially a part-time job for him. He would come in on, 2 to 3 days a week, run a practice and stuff. But there wasn't like a unified, here's what we're doing this week, and then, this program going every week. And so I think that'll be good for Dustin. It'll give him a chance to kind of do his own thing. I look at like what Mark Perry's done down at the Hawkeye Club, and it seems like he really likes this role because, if you're the second assistant on the ladder, you kind of, you're beneath 2 guys, and this gives Dustin a chance to train some athletes the way he thinks that, that best suits them, and see if he can put some guys on a world or Olympic team. And hopefully it's just a, more unified training program for the RTC guys, the Minnesota Storm guys. And then we're bringing in Trevor Brandvold from Wisconsin to fill Dustin's place. From what I understand, Sanders will stay as the third assistant, and Brandvold will come in above him. And I think the reason is that only the top three coaches can recruit. And from what I hear, Brandvold was a really good recruiter. He's very personable and very. I don't know the guy. I've never met him. Obviously, I've known of him and seen him plenty of times, but never got a chance to talk to him. So hopefully that happens sometime here sooner rather than later. Get a chance to meet up with those guys and talk to them and see what the direction is that the program's heading. Obviously the last couple of years haven't been good for Minnesota wrestling. There's no other way to say it. It sucked as a fan, and I'm pretty excited seems like with the recruits we got coming in, hopefully, obviously you got Gable, but then there's, Brayton Lee and Patrick McKee and a few others, McIntosh and, Ryan Thomas, those guys. There's some good guys in there. Some guys that definitely need to make another leap though. And, I think Brandvold will be a great coach for Gable, a guy he can wrestle with, pretty much every day if he needs to. And I think that's a pretty good thing for what Minnesota wrestling has going.
Was Brandvold a guy that Minnesota was seeking out to come there, or was it just kind of?
I don't know that maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I would say it's probably more of that. I don't know that. Let's say, Barry Davis doesn't leave the head coaching position and Wisconsin staff stays in place. I don't know that Minnesota goes and gets Brandvold then to come here. I think maybe it's a product of it, kind of just perfect situation. Bono came in, they decided not to keep a couple of those guys around. I don't know the reason for why they had decided that. But a lot of times you'll see somebody comes in, with Damian Hahn, he's coming in and they're keeping Cody Caldwell on staff. A lot of times guys will keep at least one person from the old regime. Remember Doug Schwab did that with Randy Pugh. He kept him on staff when he came in at UNI right away. So it seems like that happens sometimes where, the guys take over these mid-level programs and they'll keep one guy around or so to help ease the transition and keep that connection with the team. You got to think about it. Wisconsin's got some great wrestlers, and they don't want to alienate those guys at all. I mean, you got some good young guys for Wisconsin, so you don't want to lose that connection. So maybe keeping one coach on staff keeps that bridge, helps ease that transition.
That's the goal, is the bridge, I guess, the two regimes. But you were more in the middle of it than I was. But I guess me, kind of just as an outsider looking, to me, all those coaches do the exact same job. But I guess, like you said, Schlater's now moving on, where he kind of has his own thing that he can do now. I guess that's just how I always looked at it. As everybody coaches, it's all the same job, but apparently it's not.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, there's certain things. I mean, NCAA has so many rules and stuff, and only a few guys can be off campus at the same time, and there's just so many things. But the big one is that only the top three coaches can recruit, and so your fourth assistant can't recruit. And I don't know a lot about Brandvold, but I would guess he may be pretty good. He may be a good option for us right now. And Zach's still training. Zach's still trying to wrestle, and Division I coaching, I mean, it's a full-time job, and especially if you're going to be one of the top three assistants, or top three coaches, you get done with practice, you've got 4, 5, 6 recruiting calls to make that night, and that a lot of times those things don't go. You don't just get the guy on the phone and talk for a minute and hang up. You got to try and bond with them and build a relationship, so that takes a while. And if you're still training, it's probably not the best situation for you. You're kind of half in on both scenarios. So I think with Brandvold coming in, he's not training, obviously. He's focused fully on coaching, and I think it's a perfect situation for the Minnesota staff. Bringing in a big guy. We've got kind of all the weights covered now on the staff. And I'm not really sold on that being a necessary thing. I don't think you have to have a lightweight coach. I think a big guy coach is more important than a light guy coach because, heavyweights they wrestle a different style in a lot of ways than lightweight guys. But I don't think you have to have somebody on staff that's under 140 pounds to coach the lower 2 weights, lower 3 weights. Like, wrestling's wrestling at that. I don't see a huge difference between 125 and 157 in the style that wrestling is. Now I think there's a big difference between 184 and heavyweight. So there I understand, you want a guy that's done it, who's wrestled that style and knows different things about what works and what doesn't. I think that, the lightweight coach is not a necessity.
That makes sense. You were kind of seeing some of the negative effects of, the coaches still competing. I thought out of North Carolina when Coleman Scott was just took the job there and he was still wrestling. It seemed like his guys were underachieving for a handful of years there in a row at an NCAA tournament, but they seem to turn around a little bit now. I don't know if that has anything to do with him not competing, but
or growing as a coach. But I really think there's a strong connection with not competing. There's so much time and energy that gets invested into being a Division I college wrestling coach that how do you have time to then also be, you want to be selfish in your own training because, you only have so many years left where you can actually train and compete. So you're going to have to make some sacrifices somewhere along the line. And I just think that if you're going to train and compete, great, that's awesome. But you probably shouldn't be a college coach then.
I have a ton of respect for a guy like Jordan Burroughs who has 2 kids and still is competing at a world-class level. And then you throw in basically another, like you said, full-time job on top of that in coaching. And oh my God.
And that was a deal with Jason Ness and what he did up here because he was on staff there. He was right below Becker for a while. And that he was above Dustin. But he decided, I want to come back and try and wrestle again. I want to compete again. I'm going to step away from coaching because I know that I only have maybe 3-4 more competitive years of wrestling left. I want to focus all of my energy into myself and making sure that I give myself the best chance to make a world team, to make an Olympic team. So, that was it was a decision he made, and I applaud him for that too. Like, you know what works best for you, and for him, he felt like I can't do both.
Yeah, I have a ton of respect for those guys. But then at the same time, us, we got full-time jobs and we're doing a podcast at the same time. So
an outstanding podcast.
Yeah, people have to respect us for that too.
We dedicate an hour and a half a week to this podcast.
We do. Absolutely. It always runs way long too. We always try to keep it to half an hour or something, and all of a sudden, 4 hours in. Okay.
I was banking the extra 30 minutes of time where your computer shuts off and we got to wait to restart it.
I was smacking it quite a bit today, and I don't know what the deal was. And then all of a sudden it just started working, so.
You beat it into submission.
I did. It's working now, so. I don't know what the deal is. Okay, I think we talked quite a bit on that. There was one more little bit of news out of Minnesota was Gable Stevenson is wrestling juniors and seniors at World Team Trials. What do you think of that?
I like it. I guess I don't really see the reason, why not? Yeah, I mean, him making a senior team is a long shot, but I don't see him getting hurt, and I feel like he's head and shoulders above everybody else that's going to show up for the junior team that, who cares, I guess. Does he get to sit out till the finals of junior trials, being a returning world champ?
Oh, shoot, I should look that up.
If it's the same rules, obviously, as the seniors, then yeah, that would make sense. And if that's the case, he's sitting to the finals in juniors. He's only got 2 matches. Like, why not wrestle seniors and have fun and see, keep checking where you're at. I think he's extremely competitive and he hates to lose. And I don't know personally, but I would imagine that loss to Bradley kind of stings at him a little bit. He wants a chance to avenge that. And I'm sure he'd love the opportunity to get a wrestle Varner. I mean, I think he's going to, theoretically he's the 3 seed at the trials since Kuhn will be sitting out. So, if he can beat Bradley in the semis, he could have shot at Varner.
Man, I just think it's a lot of unnecessary risks. It'd have been one thing if he'd have gave Kuhn a little better go, I think.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not even just getting by Kuhn. Then you got to get by Wisdowski, which
right.
Is better. Basically, you're saying. So I just don't. That was okay. He can. This is kind of what I've been saying too. Is he can potentially be still the greatest ever, and also still not be there yet at this time, and that's not really a detriment to him. It's
right.
It's just he's just not there yet.
My point, I guess,
especially
is
at heavyweight.
What does he have to lose?
I don't know. I think he's just. I mean, he's already got his hands on some of those guys. He wrestled. I guess the Daktronics Open wasn't really all that big of a deal.
No.
I don't know. It's just I would just concentrate on destroying everybody at the junior level, and then next year try your luck. That's just what I would think. But
yeah,
I don't fault him for doing it. I guess if he wants to get better, that's great. But I don't think I would. If it was up to me, which it's absolutely not, I would say, hey, let's try juniors from here on out this year.
Yeah. I look at it as just, let's say something happens in the senior team trials and for some reason or another he can't wrestle in the juniors or he gets beat due to over fatigue. In the grand scheme of things, who really cares? So he doesn't get a wrestle in the junior worlds this year. And he's already won it once. Like, he's not, I don't know. I think he's kind of got his eyes focused on bigger. And that's kind of always what, he had another year he could have wrestled cadets, but he was bored with cadets. So he wrestled juniors and won juniors. He's got 2 more years he could wrestle with juniors, but he's bored with juniors. Wants to wrestle seniors. It's just, I think he's got his eyes on a bigger prize.
I love that he's doing it because I love that I get to see it. But it's just crazy that he's doing it. But hey, more power to you.
Yeah. Are you going to come up for the Rochester tournament?
Well, I guess I'm going to do the thing where I'm going to sit here and I'm going to say maybe, which is absolutely no chance.
It's 2 hours and 15 minutes.
What weekend is it? It's coming up here, isn't
it?
Yeah,
it's in 2 weeks.
I got a couple things going on here in June. I have to look and see what lines up with that. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe. So no.
June, it's still May.
Oh, yeah. May. What do I talk about? Yeah. Well, maybe I'm good then.
Yeah, see, I'm shooting holes in all your excuses.
No, well, I'm not the one that runs the calendar. The wife does, so I ask her what I'm doing, basically.
I think it's going to be pretty cool, man. I'm excited for it. It'll be weird that there's going to be so much different stuff going on. There's kids and cadet Northern Plains. There's, I think, junior Northern Plains is going on maybe. Then you got the FILA junior trials. You've got the senior trials. I don't know. This would be pretty cool.
Did you listen to the IAwrestle Potentially Dangerous podcast ever?
I have not, no.
Oh. You should have listened last week when Nick Reiter was on, and his brain was just short circuiting on. He didn't understand UWW juniors and seniors, and then what the difference was with Fargo cadets and juniors.
Yeah.
And his brain just short circuited on the podcast. He didn't understand what was what, and I was just laughing, going, "Oh my god, how is it that hard to understand?"
Yeah.
But that's way too much wrestling to be going on the same weekend. That should be 2 or 3 separate tournaments.
Yeah, and to choose Rochester, Minnesota, the location is
what the heck?
Is awesome. I think it's going to be great. The thing I'm most excited for is that this is for most of these guys, it's their end of the year tournament. They've been training all year for this tournament, and outside of the 2 guys that make the Sunday finals, everybody else is already done. So that Saturday night, you got all these dudes that are out of the tournament that have been training all year, and naturally they're probably going to go out and drink. There's 4 bars in Rochester. Everybody is going to be at the same places. So I am excited to just kind of be a fly on the wall and observe and see if I can stir any pots from earlier that day.
I know a couple years there where Don Bosco was at the Clash, we went up and watched, and I know we hit all them bars for sure. There were a couple times we went out, and it was like 10 of us.
Yeah.
And we took turns buying rounds of Red Bull vodka. So, I mean, we each went around a couple times. So you're laying in your bed at like 3 in the morning just panting because your heart is racing 1,000 miles an hour.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't do more than one of those.
Yeah, I mean, you can only have a couple of those nights in your life, and you gotta, think about your heart health.
Yeah. What else, man? Gable's gonna do both. I think that's awesome. I told you before, but I talked to Greg Kirkley last night, at Pinnacle, and he's gonna do both, try and make a junior team and, then try and win another cadet world title again this year too. His goal is to win 2 world titles this summer. And that's pretty awesome.
If this was a stock market, you better be buying up his stock right now because it's already up, but I think he could just be, through the roof still.
Right. He hasn't even touched his talent, like how good he can be. And I mean, we've been saying it for 4 or 5 years now. Like you could see it coming for so long. And I think his freshman year, he was like number 60 in the class. And I was like, he's going to be top 3 when he graduates. I guarantee he's top 3 in the class when he graduates. And now I feel like I sold him short. Kids, in my opinion, he's number 1. And there's, I know Kurt McHenry's out there and stuff, but he's good.
What the heck were you guys teaching him in practice the last couple of years? Just like half Nelsons and headlocks or what?
Oh man, he's so advanced. He wrestles such a smooth and technical style. And Jared has really done a ton with him on attacking legs and stuff. He's not going to be boring. That's for sure. So.
Yeah, it'd be exciting to see. Well, what I was thinking too is you get to do the OSU Cowboys chant now. Your favorite chant.
Yep.
Once he starts wrestling.
I can't wait, man. OSU Cowboys. I actually already have an Oklahoma State Cowboys wrestling shirt too. I had John Smith give me one so that I could wear it into Kinnick Stadium for the Iowa-Oklahoma State duel. Naturally, I'm wearing. If I'm going down to some event in Iowa, I'm probably wearing the opposing team's gear.
That'd be a good guess.
I wore a Penn State shirt for the Penn State-Iowa duel one year.
What would you do at like an Iowa State meet?
Iowa State, man. Yeah, for sure.
State,
Kevin Dresser's my favorite non-Minnesota coach in the country.
All right.
I'm a big Kevin Dresser fan. I'll support him anywhere he goes.
I guess I was just trying to think of a scenario where you'd be backed into a corner, but there really are none.
No, you're not backed into I will gladly don the colors of any other program.
All right. Anything else there?
No, I think that's good.
I think we had 2 more things we want to talk about. We were just going to maybe quickly run over general thoughts from Continentals, and then maybe get into a little bit of talk on them potentially seeding the Iowa High School State Wrestling Tournament like they've talked about. Which one do you want to do first?
Let's get to the Continentals, man. It just went on. That's exciting.
Okay. What are your general takeaways, or do you want me to go first?
My first takeaway is that the Euros is better than the Pan Ams.
Yeah, that was fun to follow that one. Yeah, there were a ton of big names in there.
Yeah, the Euros was a phenomenal tournament. I know it is all the time. I mean, winning that tournament is no joke. But it's interesting to see like how small, like you said, some of the brackets at Pan Am's were, and just kind of the difference in the regions for sure.
I guess the takeaways I had from Euros were, I think Steven Micic might be problems for some 57-pounders.
He has to be a huge 57.
What's that?
He has to be huge at 57.
Yeah, gotta be.
I like Mičić a lot, man. I like him a lot. He's tough. I mean, was the one loss was what, 6-4? Yeah, 6-4 to the Russian Iguev.
Yeah. Which I guess I was thinking he was better than he was, but he didn't really do a whole lot at Worlds last year. But still, he's good because he's from Russia.
Right.
And then he lost by 1 to the guy from Azerbaijan that beat Gilman, Durashvili.
Yeah, I mean, Mičić came all the way back then and got, rolled, then coming back to the backside. So
I guess the biggest takeaway I had was do not count out Logan Stieber. He's very much still in the mix here. He won Pan Ams, and then you look at Euros, and Haji Aliyev beat the Russian, and obviously Logan beat, the Russian or the guy from Azerbaijan. So he's, it's going to be a little tougher since he's not sitting out to Final X yet, but I mean, he's still very easily the guy, and maybe even title contender.
Yeah, he's going to have to go through I guess it's not really his teammate, but a guy he trains with to get there.
And then you still liking Burrow's chances over Chamizo?
That clip, man, with Chamizo and the Russian guy was incredible. He should have been taken down 3-4 times in there, and he just couldn't finish it. It's Burrows, man. You gotta take him. And he's what? I think they said he's like 7-0 at the Beat the Streets.
Oh God, he's wrestled that many times,
I think he has. He's every year. I mean, he's always gonna wrestle, and he's a big draw.
Wow.
As I saw the Cuban roster came out, I was a little disappointed Bonet Rodriguez wasn't on it, but they're sending some good guys.
They are, but the U.S. just wrestled a bunch of them at Pan Ams, didn't they?
Yeah, a few of them. I was a little sad there was nobody at Snyder's weight, which has got me worried that he may not be wrestling in it.
Wasn't
right or no?
Salas Perez
was he there?
Right? Is he next?
Yeah. No, sorry, there was nobody at David Taylor's weight.
That Cuban that Taylor just beat, isn't he there?
I thought when I was running through it, there wasn't anybody at his weight. It looked like there were 6 guys they had listed. Maybe I saw an early list or something, not a full list.
Yeah, I just looked today. I was actually very underwhelmed with the Beat the Streets card, because then you have Teasdale and Glory as the high school super match, and that's happened like 400 times.
Right. That's no super match.
Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, the Burroughs Chamizo one might be worth price of admission alone, but
right.
Yeah,
and
I think
the 2 guys fresh off suspensions. I hope I hope Novogratz told him like, hey man, I'm not testing anybody. So you do what you need to do. Cycle. I want you guys full cycle right now, and I want you strong and entertaining.
But yeah, Oliver. I mean, he probably doesn't. Did they get tested now that he's, tested hot once? Or
I would imagine he gets tested a lot now.
But at the same time, it's like, I guess, he's competing in this, but I don't know if this is like sanctioned or whatever you want to call it. So because he doesn't have to compete until the Open next year.
Yeah.
Then he's gonna, I guess, probably, but
from what I understood, you have to actually file retirement papers with USADA that says I'm done.
Really?
But until you file those papers, they can test you at any point.
Have you filed your papers yet?
I don't think I was ever on their radar as an actual athlete, so I'm pretty sure they don't know I exist.
I was gonna say, I definitely didn't file any of the papers, so.
Oh man, could you imagine
violation.
you imagine if I showed up to the Schultz and they're like, oh, who are you? Like, we're gonna need you to test. Results come back and they're like, well, there's no drugs in your system, but we gotta talk to you about some health issues. There's some very alarming results here.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Oh God.
But yeah, I think again, kind of getting back to it, the Euros. What do you think about the news with Sedgwick? He's going to go up to 97.
That kind of shocked me a little bit.
You knew it was going to happen because it's an Olympic weight. You're going to have to at some point. But to wrestle Euros at 92 and then now say Russian nationals, I'm going up to 97.
But the thing is, the guys that I can't say his name. Is it Batista or I don't know. The Russian at 97 right now, he's like legit still a threat to knock off Snyder.
Bitkayev?
I think. What did you say his name was?
I don't know. It looks to me like it's like Bitkayev.
There we go. Whatever, that guy. Because he wrestled a close match with Sajilayev at Russian Nationals last year.
Yeah.
And then Schneider barely beat him at the Regan. So, yeah, it might not even be Sajilayev.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, a couple things. One, I think that Russian Nationals does not. I mean, obviously it's proven it doesn't determine their team. Like they're going to put their guys on it. But two, I also got a kick out of it. I was reading the article and it was like the date and location for Russian Nationals is yet to be determined, but it should be sometime in June. Like how unorganized are they over there? They don't know when their national tournament's going to be and it's like a month away. It's yet to be determined. How do you not know when you're going to do it?
I would just love to be a fly on the wall in some of those meetings and stuff that they have.
That's
awesome.
That's the ultimate goal of Shots Fired podcast. We're going to Russian Nationals.
I mean, there's probably like a whole big long debate whether they're allowing guns or not in the venue.
Yeah.
I mean, there's two sides that equally have good arguments on. I don't know.
I want this gun for defense. It's it's a self-protecting gun only.
What are we going to do about the lack of electricity in this venue?
I think they're probably still using like the old flip boards with the score where you flip the card over.
Oh, flip charts?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I can see that happening.
You got anything else from the Euros?
I had one more thing I was going to say. What was it? Oh, Chimizo. I don't know if it's just my mind playing tricks on me, but I feel like he wrestles with like a turtleneck singlet on. Is his singlet not cut differently than other people's?
I don't know. I've never
look at it around the neck. Like I feel like it's not as low cut as other ones. I don't know. It's like a V-neck singlet or something, or I don't know. You have to look at it and tell me what you think.
All right.
I just totally made that up.
I'm gonna snap some pictures in a week and a half.
We're gonna look at this.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna get to the bottom of it. I'll ask him. You think he speaks English? He Instagrams English, but he could be using Google Translate.
No, I don't know if he knows turtleneck.
That may be a real hang up there. That we're gonna lose him when I talk about turtlenecks.
Yeah. Oh well. You can try. We'll see. Okay. You want to touch anything quick on Pan Ams, or we kind of do it there with that?
Yeah, it was a fine tournament. U.S. did good. Good job, good effort.
It's Tori Blanca is the guy's name from Cuba that Taylor dressed on.
That he was at Pan Ams, or do you think he'll be the one that'll wrestle in the Beat the Streets?
I think both.
Okay.
I know I saw Tori Blanca in there, but sometimes with them foreign guys it throws me off because they have the same last names a lot.
Right.
But I'm pretty sure it was him.
Yes, that's who David Taylor beat in the finals of Euros, 3-2.
Mm-hmm. He's actually losing for a little bit, I believe.
Was he?
Came back. Mm-hmm.
Nice. So, if that match happens, that's another great match. I know you said you're a little underwhelmed by the card, but those guys there's some good names on there. I think there'd be some good matches. The high school one sucks because I had huge match ideas running through my head. The whole thing that I'm sure they could have got a lot better high school matches had the Fila Juniors not been 2 days later. That's the biggest thing. And, I know that wasn't the Beat the Streets problem. They had set their date when USA Wrestling then didn't apparently care or didn't have the mental capacity to look at the schedule and be like, hey, maybe we shouldn't do it 2 days after Beat the Streets. That's been an event for 7 years now. Like,
yeah, I don't get it.
from what I gathered, the way reading on Twitter from Novogratz, it sounds like he had set their date, and then USA Wrestling just either didn't care or didn't look it up, and booked their, a huge event that everybody has to go to 2 days later, and it really kind of hurt.
Yeah.
It hurts Beat the Streets for sure. Cuts down, I guess, doesn't hurt, but it limits the options that you have.
Yeah. You love calling it Fila Juniors. I don't think that's a thing anymore.
No, it's not. It's UWWs. Yeah, it definitely is. But I don't know. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know the high school weights.
Oh, what they are in kilograms, you mean?
No, like the new, like the high school weights that they changed to like 6 years ago.
Are you serious?
No, I don't know what they are.
Oh my God.
I'm still stuck on 103, 112, 119.
Would it be funny to see you try to name them real quick here, or is it? I would love to see you try to name them.
All right. Let's see if we can do it. All right.
All right. Okay.
I'm not looking it up.
Okay.
106.
Yep.
113.
Yep.
120.
Yep. 3 for 3.
26.
Uh-huh. Ooh.
32.
Yep.
Okay.
Good.
God, where the next one would be? It's got to be like a 38.
38.
Would they have gone to 45?
45.
Oh my God, I'm on a roll.
I think you're going to get it. This is going to be a huge letdown.
45 would have to be. Would they have stayed at 52?
Yep, stayed at 52.
Yes. 60?
Yep, 60.
I don't know.
You're going to get them all. You're going to get them all. This one's might be tricky, though. These next
I don't
three.
think there's another 60. 170.
170.
84?
No, 82.
Dang it!
First one wrong. There you go.
And then is it
95, 220.
Oh, okay. I was going to say 96. 95, 220 heavyweight.
She did pretty good.
All
That's
right.
not too bad. Hey, well, there we go. That's a great segue right into our next topic. The Iowa High School Athletic Association is talking about potentially going to seeding the state tournament. Something that's never been done before, I guess, for any Minnesota people listening. Usually you just go a district champ will wrestle a district runner up, and you're on the opposite side from who you wrestle at districts. But other than that, it's just totally random draw. So, what are your thoughts on this?
I actually don't mind it. I think the blind draw has its advantages. It's fun, you get the exciting things. But the way I kind of look at it is, what's your favorite round at most tournaments?
Mine's the quarters.
Quarters.
Just I like that there's a lot of tournament left.
Okay.
I like that feeling of knowing, because the finals are kind of depressing to me. It's like, it's
Right,
over
yeah.
after this.
No, I agree. My favorite round's always been the semis. For almost every tournament I go watch, semis is my favorite round. And I kind of
1B, I guess, for me.
Yep. And I kind of think of it as like, okay, the seeding the tournament only helps make those rounds better. Helps the chances that you're going to get the premier matches in those rounds. And, it's generally the blind draw. There's, how many weights are there? 13?
14.
So 14 weights. There's 42 weights in Iowa. How many of them end up where there's like, you look at the draw and you're like, man, this one was awful. Like what, 2 or 3 a year? It just, I think the draw ends up evening itself out fairly well.
Yeah.
Just because, you separate.
I guess I don't look at it like that, but it's more than that. What you're trying to say, awful's not the word I would use, but yeah, it's a lot. It's quite a bit more than that.
We're like 1, 2, and 3 are all on the same side. Like that doesn't happen very often, right?
A handful. I think a handful of times each class, you could say.
Really? Okay.
I'd have to go back and look at the exact numbers, but
that would be kind of my point is that, we're only by seeding the tournament, and Minnesota does it. We seed the top 5, just to kind of separate them out. and it's all done by track wrestling. Everybody has a track profile throughout the year, and that seeds the tournament based on your year. They've developed some algorithm, and then the coaches, there's a handful of coaches who will meet. They'll look over all of them and they'll make some changes if they feel like it. If they feel like one is like, okay, this is a bad, like let's say hypothetically Gable goes undefeated and there's some other heavyweight from Western Minnesota that goes undefeated as well. And for some reason that guy's one above him. Like they're going to change that, but for the most part, they stick with the seedings pretty good. And, I don't mind it. I think it's good. It makes it encourages those big rounds to be better.
There's a lot of places I could go with this, I guess. I'm not against doing it, but it needs to be done right, and I just do not trust the Iowa High School Athletic Association to necessarily do it right.
That's smart.
It scares the heck out of me going to that track wrestling program, whatever, because I am very vocal about this. I think there are pockets of the state where the wrestling is not good at all. And they got it, that area has to get kids qualified for state. Their kids are going to make it. I guess I've kind of have two examples. There was one time I went back to a tournament in my wife's hometown, and we were sitting there watching. It was just like 10 teams or whatever. And everybody, the whole buzz, the whole tournament there was this one weight where there were two ranked guys, and they were going to meet in the finals, and the rest of the tournament was garbage. And it was like, that was the talk. There was one weight with two guys, and it was crazy that people went to tournaments where it was like that, where there wasn't, 3, 4, 5 guys ranked.
Right. Every weight has two guys ranked.
Yeah. And, and then there was another time where I saw there was a team that came up from down south to wrestle in, Eastern Iowa in Don Bosco's district or whatever. And, notoriously that's always one of the tougher ones in 1A, somewhere in northeast Iowa. And there was a guy on a message board talking, I think our team will get, 6 guys through. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, you won't win 6 matches on the weekend. And that's what it was. They won 1 match, and it was against another guy from that same district that came up. And it was like, so to me, if you include record in this at all, there can be no record involved whatsoever, because then that opens another can of worms of people ducking good competition. I'd be okay going straight, just this guy got first last year, so that's worth 16 points. This guy got second, it's worth 12, whatever it is. I'd be okay with that. I wouldn't want to give qualifiers even points, because like I said, there's pockets of the state where somebody has to make it, and I don't want to get you guys rewarded for that. But I guess that's kind of just my thought on it. What I was thinking is, people say, what about those guys that get beat out first round or whatever? And I was thinking, if you go 0-2 or don't place, you are no better than the 4th best kid in your bracket. You think about that. You wrestle number 1 first, and the other 2 and 3 would have to wrestle. Yep. 2 wins, 3. I mean, you're no better than the 4th best, and that never happens. First of all, but and then if you're the 2nd best kid, you're either getting 2nd or 3rd.
Right.
And if you're winning, you're the best. You're winning it. So
yeah, I don't like the argument that people say like, well, what about the kid that could have got 2nd but gets 3rd? Like, who cares? I mean, that to me is that argument I don't so much care about. I just like the idea of making the big rounds bigger, or helping encourage that they, those rounds are better.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that.
What do you think about not doing district assignments until later in the season when you know who's who, and trying to somewhat, it's not just geography based. It's, we try to split up some of the best teams so that you're getting a better chance of the better guys making it to state.
It's a little tough in wrestling because, you might get all the teams split up right, but say at 120 pounds, you have the top 4 kids in the state,
Yeah, and that's unavoidable for sure.
But what I've always said is, in Iowa, sectionals are the first week, then you have districts start at noon. Districts last 2 hours.
Yeah, districts are the shortest tournament ever.
Why are we worried about it being regional? Why are we grouping teams in the same quarter of the state? Why don't we have teams traveling halfway across the state? Like, you weigh in at 10 o'clock, you could leave after 6 o'clock and make it there for weigh-ins pretty much to any corner of the state.
Right, and you're not going to have to drive across the state either.
Yeah.
Because, at most you add maybe call it an extra hour of transportation. Like, that's not bad.
Yeah, and fuel's not that expensive either. So to me, I don't understand why for district. I think you should just mix it all up and just make it so that someone's not driving from Dubuque to Sioux City.
Of course.
But anywhere in between, man, 2 hour drive. You can get anywhere, almost anywhere from 2 hours.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I was just kind of thinking about that. Like, what maybe, that sectional tournament. You're not going to be, like you say, you're not going to be crazy. You're not going to throw Dubuque in with Sioux City. But if we have, there's 3 of the top 5 teams in the state all in Northeast Iowa, why don't we send one of them to North Central Iowa, one of them to Central Iowa, one of them to Southeastern, just kind of try to split it up. And maybe the state just likes to have everything set in place, so you're not like Russian Nationals where you're a month out and nobody knows where or when they're wrestling, but
they haven't been too bad recently. I can't complain too much. I hate saying the words back in the day, but back in the day where I think was it Bosco and Nashville were 1 and 2 in duels, like 3 years in a row, but only one made it to state duels because they beat the other one out at regionals all 3 years.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I can't remember what my freshman year we got put in with Belle Plaine, and out of the 26 kids to go from that sectional on to districts. I don't know the exact number, but it was like 22 were from our 2 schools.
Yeah, I think it was more than that.
It might have been 23. It was, and it's just like, that's not fair to the other kids, and that, you're just getting put in with, and we were 2 very good teams, and, they ended up winning state, and we got second. But.
Yeah. They're better, but I think they just don't want to admit sometimes that different sides of the state are better and the other sides are weaker, right. And that's just what drives me insane, I guess.
And the fact of the matter is, I mean, the Northwest Iowa is not good at wrestling.
No, they'll always hold up their studs, and they got some real good studs. They do for sure, but man, some of those middle of the pack guys that are getting 100 wins, like, wouldn't even be cracking a varsity lineup in some places.
Right. But
the biggest thing I would change with the state tournament is I don't like how you wrestle the first round and then they wrestle that first round consolation right away.
Yeah. I agree. I think there should be always a break after a loser would need to wrestle again.
Yes.
It's too important of an event in the kids' life to have to send them back out there an hour after they just lost their dreams.
For sure, too. And then you're losing both ways because you're doing that, and then also the guy who lost in the quarters has to turn around right away on a guy who's had 24 hours to recover.
Coming off a win.
Yeah, coming off a win.
Exactly. That's the worst one. That's what NCAA does to the right. The NCAA is I firmly believe the NCAA is the single best run wrestling tournament in the world. And it's not even close. Yep. Like, the NCAA wrestling tournament is perfect in every scenario. And that's the way to do it. If you lose, you will not wrestle again until the next session. Unless you're talking Saturday morning consolation. You lose in the conti semis, you got to wrestle for 5th and 6th.
Which is still a totally different animal because you're placed.
Yeah. And you're just thinking about getting the season over at that point. But, I think that anytime they ask a guy that just lost to go back out there and wrestle again, especially that one coming out of the quarters where they have to wrestle again against a guy who has been sitting out and is fresh and is coming off a win, is so wrong.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I agree. It's ridiculous.
And it's not like they don't have time. The dang tournament's 4 days long or whatever.
Yeah.
Come on, you've got plenty of time to get it in.
I would love to get on the payroll and just shoot these guys ideas because I've emailed them before. Like I did it with baseball tournament. You know, the baseball tournament, and I don't know what it is in other states, but in Iowa, it is single elimination the whole way through. So
You lose once, you're done.
So your stud pitcher broke up with his girlfriend on Thursday night, second round. Well, he had a bad game. You're done.
Right.
That's it. There's no second chance, nothing.
Is the true second match at districts, is that still a 1-2-2?
No, everything's 2-2-2.
Okay. Back when we were in high school, that used to be, that match was a 1-2-2. And I remember Ray Fox just had the hardest time with that the match to go to state in a tournament that lasts 3 hours long on a whole Saturday. Like, districts is the shortest tournament ever, and you got all the time in the world, but they make that match was a 1-2-2, and it was so ridiculous.
Well, it's been 1-2-2 at state. I guess I can't say recently anymore. I'm getting older, but I don't think in 2005 it was 1-2-2.
Okay.
I love 1-2-2s though, man, because that was one less hour I had to stall, or one less minute I had to stall on my feet.
Yeah.
Then we get to the mat, and then you were in trouble.
Yeah.
Well, most people were in trouble.
Not everybody though.
Not everybody. Yeah.
All right, you got anything else, man? We're about 51 minutes in.
Yeah, this is short for us.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Hey, next week we got, I'm going to be packing my bags. I fly out Tuesday night next week to New York, going to the big city. So we'll have, we'll be able to chat about, I would assume at that point we should have all the lineups for Beat the Streets locked in and stuff. World Team Trials preview.
Good deal. I was going to ask you if you'd be able to do it next week. I didn't know when you were leaving, so.
Yeah, fly out late Tuesday night. So we're good for next Monday.
Perfect.
Anybody have any questions? Shoot them our way.
Yeah, we'd love some questions. Our Twitter handles are just basically our name. Well, they are our names. Eric Schares, Mack Reiter. We need to get more ratings, 5-star ratings. We need to get some good reviews. I sent out a good review to a podcast last week. I thought it was pretty funny. We'll see if they read it on their podcast this week.
I wish that I would like it if they could rate us individually. You know, I mean, if you're being a 5-star, but they don't feel like I am, like, hey, let me know.
Yeah, there we go. That would be good.
Me telling everybody that I wore an Oklahoma State shirt and a Penn State shirt into Kinnick and Carver is probably not going to earn me any 5 stars.
I think our demographic might slowly be equally as much Minnesota as Iowa, though. So.
Yeah. So Jared Lawrence told me he had one of his friends, I believe from when he was growing up, was listening to it. He grew up in Idaho. So
oh God.
we are going coastal. We're growing the brand.
We are really branching out. I don't understand the views on our podcast. Like some week we'll have a couple thousand, and then the next week I'm like, oh, this one's going to be good, and we'll have like 300.
Whoever that posted on the message boards, that helped us out. That was really nice of that person.
That was me. I have some very interesting handles on message boards.
Can we? I really love your Matt.com one. Can you explain it for everybody?
Do you know what it is?
Yeah, I know what it is.
Oh, I didn't know if anyone did.
Yeah.
So it's, I got to think what it is. But anyways, it's I'd rather throw you than know you with just the first letters of each one.
For sure. I knew that's a phenomenal handle.
I don't think anyone gets it, so.
No.
Somebody got it, I guess.
I did. I think you maybe told me a while back.
I probably did.
I wouldn't have figured that out on my own. We
always had a guy who always wore a shirt that said that in practice. We always made fun of him, but it was just, that was kind of our saying, so.
Yeah. I don't have a message board handle, but I'm gonna be wimps need not apply.
Wait, what is it again?
The wimps need not apply.
Oh, God.
That was my favorite.
Well, you better snatch it up now that you
put it out there.
Podcast.
All right, man.
I might take it. All right, let's wrap this up. This was episode 7 of the Shots Fired podcast. Make sure to rate, subscribe, Staying pretty consistent here, having this release every Tuesday, so hopefully we'll see you guys again next Tuesday.
See you guys.